Great. This Bio 181 video is on Chapter 12 on inheritance, and we're looking at the first type of genetics that were described by Gregor Mendel. They're called Mendelian genetics. And in this form, we have a pure dominant and recessive idea of how genes are inherited. So we're going to start the dominant allele, you could write with a capital letter, and the lowercase allele, you're going to write with a lowercase letter. So the dominant allele is always going to be expressed. So always expressed. Whereas the recessive allele is only going to be expressed if there's no dominant. So only if no dominant allele. Okay. Now, for animals, humans, we are diploid. And so we are always going to have two alleles. So remember, we're 2N. That means that we had for each chromosome, 1 through 23, you get one from the mom, one from the dad. And on these chromosomes, which are sequences of DNA with some proteins in there, you're going to have a sequence called a gene that's going to code for something. So say it codes for fur. So on the one from your mom, at the same location, you have a gene for fur as the one from your dad, but you may have different alleles, which are different types of the gene. So in this case, say capital A is black fur, and say the lowercase a is white. Okay. So there's three ways to pair these two. You could have two dominant alleles. Okay. You could have one dominant allele and one recessive allele, or you could have two recessive alleles. Okay. So in the first case, you've got a dominant allele, so it's going to be black. In the second case, you still have a dominant allele. It's always expressed. So again, this fur is going to be black. It's only in the case where you have the two recessive alleles that you would have the recessive allele expressed, and in this case, you would have the white fur. So this is shown here on this diagram, and it just shows that, all along a chromosome, you have different genes, and each gene at each location is going to code for a different trait. Those are going to be inherited, one from the mom, one from the dad, right? Parent one, parent two. So again, you could have eye color here, you could have blue from one parent, and you could have brown, to be a lowercase, maybe, well, let me do more realistically. So the brown would be dominant, and then the blue would be more of a recessive. Okay. All right. The phenotype P, think physical. It's the physical expression of a gene. Genotype, that's the pair of alleles that an individual has. So for example, if we go back to the other one, there's three examples here. Okay. Oops. All right. So if you have two of the same alleles, homo is the same. So that's the same homozygous is what we would call that. So that would be this case here and this case here. So this is homozygous dominant. This is homozygous recessive. Homozygous recessive. And then the other one is hetero, meaning they're different. So this is heterozygous. There's only one way to be heterozygous, so you just need one word, heterozygous. Okay. One of each. So the homozygous dominant in the previous example was black. Okay. That's the phenotype. So the phenotype is the physical expression of the genotype. The genotype is the combination of alleles over here. For the heterozygous, that's also black. So again, the phenotype is the same, black and black. The genotype is different in this case. So homozygous dominant and heterozygous, both have the dominant phenotype. Okay. In this last case for recessive, going with our last example, that would be the white fur. So the white fur is corresponding to only one genotype, in this case, homozygous recessive. All right, that's it for the first video.